To be traded by the merchants who had set up shop in a row of buildings on the bank. Some of those goods included seafood, spices, and rubber. The precious cargo was shouldered across gangplanks by immigrant laborers known as coolies, whose blood, sweat, and tears formed the very backbone of our nation's rise to prosperity. Wonder why all the shophouses are concentrated on just one embankment of Boat Quay? Well, legend has it that the Chinese immigrants chose to set up home only on the south bank of the river. You'll notice how the riverbank curves just like the belly of a calf. In Chinese culture, this majestic fish is an auspicious one folks line start in Singapore. Then shipped to Singapore later to be assembled. Unfortunately, the bridge was built too low and those had to wait for low tide before they could pass. So look how this boat can get to duck and cruise under the bridge. Just kidding. Coming up on the other side of the bridge, you'll see a group of little boys jumping into the river. Don't worry about jumping in to save them. They're actually incredibly lifelike bronze sculptures showing a scene from the river's past, where children would stand and wave cheekily from their houses. Very often they would take off all their clothes and jump in for a cool afternoon swim. Standing tall and majestic is the exclusive Fullerton Hotel, which blends the elegance of old world charm with every modern convenience. Built in 1928, lots of people fishing went on behind. This promontory to your right used to be home to the Merlion, Singapore's half-life for 30 years before it was hauled by barge to its new home in the bay in 2002. As we make our way out into Marina Bay, you'll be able to see the Merlion for yourself and hear all about its story.
Whoa! That's a durian shape. Merlion!
Measuring 8.6 meters high and weighing 70 tons, the Merlion is great.
Clark Quay.
Also located along the City Water platform.
We're on here already. Oh, we might be able to see it.
As we make our way back upriver, you may be curious about the type of vessel we're cruising in. Traditionally called bumboats or lighters, these barges were used to transport cargo from ships anchored offshore near the mouth of our Singapore River to the warehouses along the river as early as 150 years ago. In 17th century Europe, they were first used as scavenger or dirt boats to carry rubbish. But some scholars have also agreed that the word bumboat means exactly as it sounds, a ship's bottom, or a smaller boat pandering to larger ships. In Singapore, though, bumboats are also called tongkangs, from the Malay name given to the timber used to build them, and used for transport between islands. Bumboats are also referred to by the Chinese as duagors. These boats proudly originated in Singapore with hulls developed by the local Chinese. Hokkien duagors are the most colorful, with both heads painted bright red, green, green and white, while Teochew logos were painted a solid red. Now, if you're thinking that the bumboats look like they have eyes painted on them, you're not wrong. According to Chinese legend, these boats were designed by a crafty Chinese emperor who was not in favor of foreigners interfering with his expeditions. So he had eyes painted on his boats to ward off evil and to symbolize good luck. It's also believed that the eyes enable bumboats to see and guide passengers on board safely to their destination. So whether you believe in legend or superstition, we can all agree that these colorful, distinctive boats are during a massive cleanup of our waterways in the early 80s. However, they made a triumphant return to the Singapore River and were given a new lease of life as pleasure craft by Singapore River Cruises. From a humble fleet of just 4 bumboats, that number has grown steadily to preserve our river's charming heritage. In 2006, Singapore River Cruises championed the environmentally friendly cause by creating the world's first electric bumboat. In fact, this very boat we're cruising in is part of our electric bumboat fleet. As we'll soon be saying goodbye to what remains of a bygone era of life along the Singapore River, perhaps you'd like to hear a little more about the rich past. From the southern part of the island, these river waters truly thrum with the lifeblood of Singapore. You've heard a few stories of the early days, how the Singapore River transformed from a sparsely populated swamp to an important port for merchants and traders who docked their boats and built their businesses along the riverbanks. The Singapore River flourished into a busy, overcrowded port and became home to an ever-growing community whose livelihoods depended on it. The Singapore River was where our first immigrants toiled hard to start their new lives. Let's take a break from all the talk to enjoy a little traditional music, shall we? This Malay folk song is called Di Tanjung Katong, a charming ode to an area in the east coast of Singapore near the Denang River.
Don't drop it.
Yeah, look, watching. There's a swimming pool there, and on top, the infinity pool, and there's a gym. I don't know which side is that. There's a gym. This is unique.
280-meter engineering marvel has been modeled after the structure of DNA and was inspired by the Asian concept of yin yang, built to bring wealth, happiness, and prosperity to Marina Bay. This bridge will also link you to another awe-inspiring attraction, the Gardens by the Bay. Spanning 101 hectares, this award-winning super park is home to over 250,000 rare plants from all over the world. Enjoy the lush outdoor gardens, huge climate-controlled dome conservatories, and the towering, futuristic super tree, which you can even see from this distance. There is essentially vertical gardens measuring up to 16 stories high and linked by suspended walkways with stunning views of the entire park. Living up to their name, the super trees also collect rainwater, regenerate solar power, and are venting ducts for the park's conservatories, which encapsulate the cloud forest and flower dome. Do you notice that the water here is very calm? This is due to the Marina Barrage, which is a 10,000 hectares. When these